Here is how you score a goal at a modern World Cup. You beat your man, you meet the cross, you watch it hit the net, and then you wait. You wait while officials in another building draw lines on a screen. You wait while the crowd holds its breath. You wait while your celebration just hangs there with no answer. In Seattle, that wait nearly stole a young American his dream. The goal was good, the flag was wrong, but FIFA still made everyone suffer to find out. Seattle, Friday night. The 43rd minute of a World Cup game, the United States was already winning. The ball is in the air. Sergiño Dest has just fired a shot from the edge of the box, and it has smacked off a defender and spun high into the night. Two players chase it down, and a young American gets there first. Alex Freeman, a defender, not a striker, rises above everyone and nods the ball down and into the net. The green of Lumen Field disappears under a wall of noise. 60,000 fans in red, white, and blue lose their minds. The home team is 2 goals up and cruising toward the next round, and then a small orange flag goes up in the corner of your eye. Offside. The linesman has his arm in the air, and just like that, the noise drops. 60,000 throats go from a roar to a groan in less than a second. Freeman, who a moment ago was sprinting away in joy, stops cold. He turns, he looks at the flag, and he waits. Because the flag is not the end anymore. The flag is just the start of the trial. Up in a room full of screens, somewhere away from the pitch, the video referees are already working. They are pulling up camera angles. They are drawing their lines. They are deciding whether the best moment of this young man's life actually counts. And down on the grass, Freeman cannot do anything except stand there and hope. Think about who is standing there waiting. Alex Freeman is 21 years old. He is the youngest player on the entire roster. He is the son of an American football star, a man who once lit up stadiums in a completely different sport, and now the kid is chasing his own moment on the biggest stage in the world. Earlier this year, he earned a big move to Villarreal in Spain. He came into this team as a fullback who loved to get forward and turned himself into one of the steadiest defenders his coach has. And this, right here, was supposed to be his first ever World Cup goal. His coach gave him his first game for his country just over a year ago, and has watched him grow faster than just about anyone expected. And there was one more layer to this. His father once had a huge day in his own sport on that very same field in Seattle, years ago. So this was never just a goal. It was a full-circle family moment, a son reaching for greatness on the exact ground where his dad once found it. And now the whole thing, the dream, the roar, the family history, was sitting on a screen in another building while strangers decided its fate. So he waits. The crowd waits. The cameras cut to his face, and you can see it. He looks nervous. He looks like a kid who scored the goal he has imagined 1,000 times and is now dreading that someone is about to delete it. Later, he said it plainly. He said he was very nervous to see whether it would count. He said that when it finally did, he looked up, saw his teammates charging at him, and thought, "Oh Lord, here they come." But in the moment, none of that relief exists yet. There is only the wait. 1 minute, 2 minutes, the big screen shows the frozen frame. The lines crawl across the picture. The whole stadium is staring at a replay instead of celebrating a goal. This is where the story takes a turn nobody in that stadium expected. The verdict comes back. Onside. The goal stands. And Lumen Field roars back to life. Freeman tears off down the pitch, celebrating with anyone in his path, and you can see the emotion pour out of him. He said later, "It was so emotional because you dream of this moment, and to finally have it happen in front of your people makes it mean so much more." The relief was real because the fear was real. For 3 minutes, he really did not know if he was a World Cup scorer or not. It was only his 3rd goal for his country, and by far the biggest. Afterward, his coach, the man who gave him that first game, could only marvel at the kid's rise. He called the young defender's growth massive and said the boy could become one of the best players in the world in his position. High praise for a 21-year-old who, 3 minutes earlier, was standing frozen and afraid. And here's the part that should bother you. He was always a World Cup scorer. The goal was good the entire time. Let me set the rest of the scene, because the goal did not happen out of nowhere. This was a rout. The United States was already in control. Back in the 11th minute, the striker Freeman Balogun went on a brilliant run down the right and whipped a low ball across the face of goal, and an Australian defender, trying to clear it, turned it into his own net instead. 1-0, early and deserved. From there, the Americans bossed the game. They kept the ball, they pinned Australia back. They did all of this without their biggest star, Christian Pulisic, who was ruled out before kickoff with a calf problem, and they barely missed it. Freeman's header made it 2-0 right before the break, and the second half was never in doubt. The final whistle blew on a clean 2-0 win. That result did real work. The United States now has 6 points from 2 games. They are into the round of 32. They became the second team in the entire tournament to book their place in the knockouts, right behind Mexico. Next up is Turkey, back in Los Angeles. Any way you look at it, it was a brilliant night for the host nation. And the city felt it. This was Seattle's first ever World Cup match, played on a night the whole town had waited years for. The crowd was so loud that the coach, Mauricio Pochettino, said afterward that it left him emotional. He talked about hearing the national anthem and seeing the helicopters circling above the stadium, and how that kind of energy gives a team one last push before kickoff. The home side has now won every single match it has ever played in that ground. It was, on paper, a perfect night. So why are we talking about a flag? We are talking about the flag because of what it almost did, and because of what it tells us about where this sport is going. Pay attention to this next detail, because it explains everything that follows. The video review did not catch a cheat. It did not spot some tiny, invisible offside that the human eye could never see. It did the opposite. It fixed a mistake. The replay showed Freeman was clearly onside when the ball was hit. The flag should never have gone up in the first place. One of the experts watching even said he was surprised the linesman raised it at all. So read that situation again. A correct goal was scored. A human official got it wrong and flagged it. And the only reason the goal counted is that a room full of machines and screens had to spend 3 minutes proving the obvious. The crowd did not get to celebrate a goal. They got to celebrate a court ruling. And that is the disease. Not this one call, the whole machine. Because this is not just about Seattle. This is happening everywhere, every week, and the wait is getting longer, not shorter. Look at what happened to one of the most famous managers in England not long ago. His team scored, the video room got involved, and it took nearly 5 minutes, 5 whole minutes, of grown adults standing around on a football pitch before the goal was finally wiped off for a tiny offside. The fans booed. The manager, completely fed up, started flipping an imaginary coin on the touchline. He played rock, paper, scissors with himself, as if to say the whole thing was now down to luck. Afterward, he said something that stuck. He said if you had told him years ago that they would spend 5 minutes of a football match just standing around, he never would have believed you. He said this is not what the system was brought in to do. He is right, and it gets worse. In another game, a goal was dragged through a 7-minute video review. 7 minutes. While the officials drew their lines and argued over a possible handball, the fans of both teams started singing the same thing over and over. They chanted that this is not football anymore. They chanted that it was embarrassing. And you know what the worst part is? They were not wrong. And these are not rare freak events. In another match, it took more than 5 minutes to rule out a goal because a striker was offside and had pulled on a defender in the box. Same story, same long silence. Same crowd left standing around while a screen slowly made up its mind. It is happening over and over, in game after game, and we are all just getting used to it. If you want the truth about this World Cup, the parts FIFA would rather you just cheered through without thinking, then subscribe and stick with me. I break down every big moment of this tournament as it happens. No spin, no press releases. Now back to it. Alright, so here is the part FIFA really does not want you thinking about. They promised us this would be fast. When they rolled out the newest version of this offside system, the whole selling point was that it would be almost instant. They said it would cut the average offside check down to about 31 seconds. They sold it as being exact and fast, a clean, quick, robot answer that would end the long waits forever. The idea was simple. Cameras placed all around the stadium track every player many times a second. The system works out the offside line on its own, and the answer is supposed to come back almost before you can blink. The man in charge of the referees stood up and defended it against people who called it robot officiating and kept saying the system was accurate and quick. And yet, here we are. 3 minutes in Seattle for an obvious goal, 5 minutes in England for a close one, 7 minutes somewhere else for a goal that touched 3 different rules. The promise was speed. The reality is that we are all still standing around, staring at a screen, waiting to be told whether we are allowed to be happy. FIFA built this courtroom. Let us be honest about that. They are the ones who took a simple, beautiful, instant thing, a ball crossing a line, a net rippling, a crowd erupting, and turned it into a court case. Every goal at this World Cup is now reviewed. Every one. The roar you let out when the ball goes in is no longer the end of the story. It is just your opening statement, and a group of officials in a building somewhere gets the final word. And think about what that does to you, the fan. It teaches you to hold back. It tells you not to celebrate too hard, because the goal might get taken back. The pure, stupid, wonderful joy of watching your team score is now wrapped in a layer of fear. You score, and instead of screaming, half the stadium turns to look for the flag. That holding back, that little flinch, is the tax FIFA now charges on every goal, and they sold it to you as a gift. They called it fairness. But fairness was never supposed to feel like this. Offside used to be a snap decision. The linesman raised the flag or he did not, and we all lived with it. Sometimes he got it wrong. We complained, we moved on, and the game kept breathing. Now every close call gets pulled apart frame by frame, measured by the width of an armpit, judged by a line that nobody in the stadium can even see. The same manager who lost his mind on that touchline said it best. He said offside was never meant to be measured under a microscope. He said he would happily take instant decisions back. He even questioned the lines themselves, asking whether anyone really believed in them, those thin computer lines drawn across a frozen picture that somehow decide a match. And that is the quiet scandal underneath all of it. We are not just waiting longer. We are handing our games over to lines most of us cannot even see, and being told to accept the verdict without question. Nobody asked the fans if they wanted this. Nobody asked the players. FIFA decided that the game needed to be perfect, and in chasing perfect, they broke something that mattered more. They smothered the moment. They drained away the release. In Seattle, it worked out. The lines fell in the home team's favor. Freeman got his goal, the crowd got its party, and the story has a happy ending. But that is exactly why this is so easy to miss. When the verdict goes your way, you forgive the wait. You tell yourself the system worked. You forget that you just spent 3 minutes on edge, watching a kid stand alone on the grass while a screen decided his fate. Next time, the lines might not fall your way. Next time, it could be your team, your goal, your moment, wiped out by a line drawn across a frozen frame in a room you will never see. And when that happens, FIFA will tell you the system worked then too. That is the trap. The machine is always right, even when it steals the best part of the game from you. That is the warning sign nobody wants to read. We have handed the soul of this sport to a screen, and we keep telling ourselves it is fine because sometimes the screen agrees with us. So, when you watch the rest of this World Cup, watch closely. Watch the next time a goal goes in and the celebration freezes. Watch the players freeze. Watch 60,000 people stop mid-roar to stare at a giant replay. And ask yourself who that is really for. Not the fans, who just want to scream. Not the players, who just want to celebrate. It is for FIFA, and for the system they built and called justice. Alex Freeman got his dream back in Seattle. He was lucky. The flag was wrong, the machine fixed it, and the night ended in joy. But the real question is not whether his goal was good. We knew it was good the second it hit the net. It is why a stadium full of people had to hold its breath for 3 minutes to be told something they could already see with their own eyes. That is what FIFA took from the game. Not the goal, the certainty, the moment, the roar, the simple right, to be sure. They replaced it with a wait, and a screen, and a verdict, and they dressed it up as fairness. So tell me down in the comments, has the video review made this sport better, or has it just taught us all to be afraid of our own celebrations? And if you want me here for every big moment of this World Cup, the goals, the scandals, and the calls FIFA hopes you do not look at too closely, then follow the channel. Because this tournament is only getting started, and the next stolen moment is always one flag away.